we don't feed it
We came here tonight for a reason, and that is to celebrate agricultural education throughout the county, whoever is doing it. And we're going to hear tonight from Harold Edwards. I think you all know who he is. He's the CEO of Limoneira. We are also going to hear from Stan Mantooth. I'm so grateful that he could be here tonight. He's the superintendent of schools for Ventura County. I am going to say a few words about the program. Everyone keeps asking me what I do here, and then we're going to hear from Rory. Where's Rory?
Right here.
Okay, very good. And then we're going to go over and have a beautiful and great dinner tonight. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to Limoneira, everybody. It's a great honor to have you all here with us this evening. It's a beautiful evening. It's always like this in Santa Paula, for those of you that don't live here. And we're here to celebrate tonight, but also we're here to recognize the accomplishments and focus of what has turned into a really extraordinary effort made possible by most of all of you who are here this evening. But most importantly, we're here to talk about the sustainability of our agricultural efforts in Ventura County. And the theme of sustainability is a very important theme for the Limoneira Company. This company was founded in 1893 and has been part of the agricultural community, the community of Santa Paula, and the community of Ventura County for 120 years now. And we're very proud of our participation in our local communities. But one of the things that we're probably the most proud of is our participation through partnerships with the local educational institutions in this great county of ours. About 5 years ago, actually it goes back probably 10 years ago, when I started working for the company, we pulled the team together and assessed where the company was and what the greatest opportunities and challenges that we were facing as we grappled with the way the world was changing, the way people ate food, the way people grew food, and the way the world was kind of moving. And we realized that it was probably time to begin to open the company up and try to bring people to this great place. And you look around, it's not such a bad place. It's not hard on the eyes to visit. It's a great, beautiful place with just a ton of history. But also, when we would bring people out here, we would tell them the story of why this company survived and flourished over time. But also, we would do a very important thing, and that was to begin to educate people where food comes from. And while it sounds extremely fundamental, it's amazing how when you go to urban centers, even locally, but around the world, very few people really know how agriculture works, and very few people know how food is produced and where it comes from. So we came up with a strategy and idea of, hey, why don't we reach out to the area schools and through partnerships, through openness, through communication, invite them to come out to the ranch, show them how food and agricultural products are produced, show them how it's packaged, show them how it's marketed, and give students a sense of how consumers buy food and where it comes from. It's really that fundamental and that simple. And I challenged the Limoneira team about 5 years ago to every day I wanted to see a yellow school bus in the parking lot here. And so it was about 5 years ago that I met an extraordinary lady by the name of Mary Moranville, who most of you know because you probably wouldn't be here if you didn't know her in some way. And Mary was very passionate about education and about partnering with education and linking agricultural producers with education. And she came to us and asked us for help in a number of ways. One, would we be willing to let her take advantage of the assets of this great company, which was a no-brainer, of course. We would be delighted to do that. Two, would we be willing to host people if she was able to get them to come out and visit? So, of course, that was a no-brainer number two. And three, would we be able to financially underwrite this great undertaking? And that was probably, well, okay, Mary, how much is it going to cost? And, you know, what are we really talking about? But when we started adding it all up, we realized that it's a very, very small investment for a very, very huge return when you see what happens when you get kids out here. And there's all kinds of really cool statistics that say that if you start working on kids in education at preschool, and you get them to kindergarten and first and all the way on, that if you get them early and you get them deep, it's amazing how productive they become in society and life. And because of sort of some of that education that we received, we began to reach out to the local institutions, the educational institutions, and all of a sudden we started seeing a lot of kids running around here. And I can't tell you how great it is for me as the CEO of this company. Every week when I get the bundle of letters that I open up that are thank you letters of all the kids that have come out here, learned where lemons came from. Hey, you know, you really should do that. They start giving me tips, which they should, right? Because they, you know, they're very observant. But it's just really great. And if you really want to think about the concept of sustainability, there really is nothing more sustainable than educating our kids and teaching them where food comes from. So with that, I just want to welcome you all here. It's just an honor to have you here with us. This is a beautiful place. It's a great evening. This is a celebration. Mary said you can't make it a shakedown. But by the way, if you want to write checks, we are always raising money. And the other thing I want to do is, I'm looking out on the crowd and I'm seeing a lot of my friends who are also in the agricultural business as agricultural producer or food producers. We are always looking for new tours and new ideas to educate kids about. So if you are open and willing to invite kids out, I'm sure you can make some really great friends with some people from our educational systems out there who would love to come out. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to Stan Mantooth, the superintendent of schools, who will say a few things to you. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Harold, and good evening, everyone. You know, Mary might have promised that there wouldn't be an interrogation or a quiz, but I didn't. And part of what I'm going to say is going to sound like preaching to the choir, but I'm going to say it anyway. And one of the things that I just thought of as Harold was speaking was a conversation we were having on the tour trolley about how our kids teach us to do things. How my kids taught me to put on my seatbelt. How my grandkids make sure I'm putting the trash in the right bin. And these kids are going to be the ones who are going to help preserve agriculture in Ventura County. Now, I hope the dinner's going to be really good tonight, because I've got only about 40 minutes of comments that I'm going to make. But I wrote them down because at my age, I'm always at risk of forgetting, you know, and a lot of people call me the master of the false exit because my real pearls of wisdom come after, you know, and I think of it and I can't go back and say them to you. I think you know that agriculture here in our county is about the most productive in the state, if not the world, but it's also threatened. And we have to safeguard against that, because I heard an estimate the other day that by the year 2050 there will be 9 billion people on this planet, and we're going to be playing a role in trying to feed those people one way or another. And because of that role, agriculture has and will need to become an increasingly precise science. It requires a high degree of technical knowledge and expertise. But that in turn is going to challenge our young people and promise great career opportunities for those students. And we hope that just if a few of those kids that visit the ranch become the future leaders of a company like this, that's a great payoff. But what do those students really know about what goes on in the fields and the orchards outside of this great program that's been initiated? And as you've heard this before, when asked about where our food comes from, the answer is, well, it's at the grocery store, right? That's where milk comes from. That's where our meat comes from. That's where our vegetables come from, without really understanding the more basic connection. And of course, responses like these are far from acceptable, but clearly illustrate the need for these kind of partnerships between our schools and the agricultural community. Tonight's event is just one example of how well these relationships work and what you learn about this relationship tonight in your dialogue with others. They also show us that we can do more and certainly not less. And that's why I thank individuals like Mary Moranville, Harold Edwards, and students like Roy Bruton, that you're going to hear from next, for carrying the torch and keeping that torch lit. And of course, a big group hug for Limoneira Corporation for its continuing commitment to Ventura County's agricultural heritage. Thank you. Thank you very much. We might need a slight microphone adjustment here. Mary?
If it's okay, I'm going to speak next because I've seen Rory speak before, and I do not want to speak after him. I wanted to welcome everyone here tonight. It means a lot to me that you're here, as it does for Harold and for Limoneira and for the educational community. And it's so wonderful for me to see all your familiar faces and some new ones. I met quite a few new people tonight. We are here tonight on behalf of Ventura County Agricultural Education and teaching our youth where their food comes from. And if you know anything about me, you know how passionate I am about this cause. I think everybody can feel it from me when I speak about it. But you may be asking yourself, what does a girl from upstate New York know about Ventura County agriculture? And I get that a lot as well. Well, everything I've learned from the farmers and growers that are here tonight. I've learned from Steve Gill what it's like to manage 17,000 acres of onions, and I learned tonight, and he made that clear, manage. And I've also know what it's like from Johnny Fontaine and Elizabeth Del Negro of Rio Gozo Farm, what it's like to farm 2.5 acres in Ojai. And I've learned from, Casey couldn't be here tonight, his daughter Monica is here, what it's like to farm in a greenhouse, hydroponic tomatoes. And Tomas Gonzalez and Camila Yanez here at Limoneira, who taught me everything I needed to know. And I'm so sorry that they couldn't be here tonight. They were both invited. Every farmer I meet in Ventura County has a very deep story of why they do what they do. The common thread is you love it. You love growing food. It's in your blood. Your parents did it, probably your grandparents, and maybe even your great-great-great-grandparents. And on a personal level, I'm no different. My father came from a very long line of Irish dairy farmers, and my father loved it too. He absolutely loved farming. But I wish that someone came to my school and told me what a great job he was doing. It gave me a foundation, or gave me the foundation explaining the basics of where our food comes from and agriculture. No one came to my school when I was a young girl and talked about agriculture. No one did. On a professional level, it is important to me to teach our school children where food comes from, the journey from field to their table, and all the steps in between. All the fruits and vegetables, all the processed food just doesn't appear in the grocery store. It comes from dirt, it comes from plants, it comes from farms, and it takes months of planning. Hard work, sweat, diligence, and dedication. You all that are here tonight who grow anything, you absolutely love it. It's in your blood. Part of the problem of why kids don't understand where their food comes from is they're very visual. They see bags of groceries coming out of the grocery store, but they never see it going in. And I had this talk with Tomas a few days ago. Tomas Gonzalez, he's the director of sustainability, nicest man you ever want to meet. He said now in grocery stores, you see it coming out and you never see it going in, but you also see it getting sprayed and watered. Kids think their food is grown in grocery stores. Not all of them, but some of them. On an educational level, connecting students to farms and plants has obvious benefits, and it's well documented. And Stan will be where did Stan go? Okay. Stan will be very happy to hear me say, our young people, when we give our young people real world experiences and we get them out of the classroom, it improves their test scores, it helps their cognitive ability, their psychological and emotional well-being. And if you're ever out here, when the kids are out here, you'll know what I'm talking about. When they light up when they're here. The third graders I visit in classrooms sometimes don't even know that lemons grow on trees or tomatoes or are a fruit. They need to see it to believe it. At the beginning of every presentation, I ask kids, and I love this question, who here is connected to agriculture? Can I ask you, who here is connected to agriculture? And then my next question is, who here eats? And they all laugh. And I eat. If you eat, you are connected to agriculture, and that gives them an immediate visceral connection. They're like, I'm connected to it, I better pay attention now. Every presentation I do, whether it's in the classroom or here, I ask that question. We also go on to discuss, I'm not going to bore you with everything I teach the kids. If you want to know, please come up and ask me individually. We also go on to discuss the top crops in Ventura County. Who grows those crops? What are the nutritional values of those crops? And they want to know, lemons have vitamin C. They love learning what's good for them. I give them specific sustainable agricultural practices as well. They believe that all farmers, a lot of them believe farmers are all still on tractors with overalls. They don't know that Steve Gill has the largest vanadium flow battery in Oxnard, or that Limoneira has a 5.5-acre solar orchard, and the green waste recycling that's done here, and they're just amazed. And also Casey with his greenhouses and all the things you're doing. And sorry if I'm not mentioning you, I know about you. We also make it a point to ask which students, and this is very, very important to me, who has friends and family that work in agriculture? And a few of them are very shy, and they raise their hand, and I explain, without them, none of this would be possible. Without their hard work and their sweat, we would not have food on our tables. And Amelia Smudgeon, who is here tonight, I hope I said your name right, she's a principal at Haydock Intermediate School in Oxnard. She was a believer, but a lot of people, especially educators, they want to know for themselves. So she went up to a few of her students after their field trip, and she said, what did you think of your field trip out at Limoneira? And she said they were so proud to tell her, my mother works in agriculture. And they should be proud. At the same time, while I explain what they're doing, they should be proud of it. You also have to tell them that there's a wealth of opportunity available to them as well if they apply themselves. Giving young people the idea of possibility and opportunity is invaluable to our community. It's also important for me to bring up Hanson Trust, and I'm almost done, so bear with me. Everybody, Hanson Trust, they do an amazing job. I'm friends with Jose DeSoto, I'm friends with Susanna Miller. What they do there is incredible. I went there, and when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do in agriculture, I went and I talked to them, and I participated in their field trip. And I said, but this is lovely, and you're teaching kids where their food comes from, and it's in the dirt, but it wasn't a real working agricultural ranch experience. And that's when I started Googling, and I found Limoneira. And I've never met a more welcoming company ever in my life. When I bring kids out here, I'm always waiting for someone to say, Mary, you can't bring 75 kids through this area. They never once say that to me.
I needed to talk to you about that.
I'm sure you do. I know, it's probably right there. But they always smile and wave and greet me, and they're always so happy to see the kids. And now, your employees everywhere are saying, when are you going to come to my school? So that I'm very, very happy about that as well. With that, I'm proud to tell you, I've never had to turn away from the generosity from some of the people here. I've never had to turn away a school, a teacher, a child. The first year I saw 450 kids. Last year I saw 2,300 kids in classrooms. I said I wasn't going to cry tonight. And I took 2,500 kids, parents, and adults, because now the parents are totally onto it, and I get 20 parents that show up, and they are just as curious and have no idea whatsoever. And I visit kids from Fillmore to Newberry Park, from Santa Paula to Port Hueneme, from Ojai to, where's another, Oxnard. I go everywhere. I never turn away a school. I have some more thank yous. I'm gonna wait till you've had a little bit more alcohol, and I need to have a drink as well. I'm gonna say a few thank yous over at the dinner table, and now I'm very proud to welcome and talk to you, or Rory, come on over here. Sorry, I'm a little verklempt now. To give you, he was so worried. He kept saying to me, this mic is way too high for me, Mary. There you go. And also, one more thing. Thank you, Rory. Tonight, I get handed a bunch of thank you letters from the kids and how much they love it. And I think one is in here from you, by the way. This is Lincoln Elementary. Okay. Thank you, Rory.
Farmers, ranchers, and friends of Limoneira. My name is Rory Bruton. I go to Lincoln Elementary. I'm in 4th grade. I'm here because of Mary Moranville. She was the one who got me into agriculture. I'm a lucky kid. Because of my good friend Gus Gunderson, I've got to see a lot of Limoneira, and I like what I've seen. You guys are in the whole packing house on solar energy. Speaking of the packing house, it's a cool place. The way it sorts the lemons by color is the most amazing, I think. Another amazing thing is how much space Limoneira has just for farming. Limoneira is a great place to visit, and Mary has a great job. I love agriculture as much as you guys do, and this little speech was why.
Great job. So I think that's it. Are we going to go that way, Mary? Whoever... How are we going to, are we walking? We're walking, we're walking. We're going to go over there and enjoy some dinner together. So thank you all again for being here.
I wanted it to feel like an old-fashioned barn raising, and I'm as corny as they come. I really, really am. And a lot of people came together this evening to make it possible. So there are definitely some thank yous in order. And I need to thank Ventura Rentals and Heidi Whitcomb and her lovely husband, Mike. For giving me the first donation for the evening to make this possible. I also need to thank all the farmers who donated food. Chris Sayre, did everybody try the figs?
Oh yeah.
Woo! Jason turned those already amazing figs into something fabulous. And Howling's Nursery donated all the tomatoes. Rio Gozo, Johnny Fontaine and Elizabeth Del Negro dropped off flowers, sunflowers, all the beautiful sunflowers you see on the table. like Underwood, the melon, Gills, the onions, Phil McGrath, the pumpkins that you see, Calavo, the avocados on the table, and I think you do see a few lemons here and there. We got those from an orchard in Florida. Thank you, Limoneira, for the lemons. And I knew we needed some volunteers this evening, and I called Jeannie Benitez and said, and she didn't even let me get it out of my mouth, and she said, absolutely. I think you see all the lovely food share volunteers that are walking around making sure you... And you already know what Food Share's mission is, I think. They are feeding all of our people that can't feed themselves. Sienna Marie Sesma, she has given me moral support, and she has helped me with a lot of special touches that you see. She introduced me to Andrea Vargas, who heard we were having this dinner. Andrea is a local Santa Paula artist. She followed me around one day. I ask a lot of people, you want to know what I do? Come to Limoneira and follow me on a tour. Andrea did it, and she painted this lovely picture of two young girls eating lemons. I think this is for sale if anybody wants to contact Andrea. I also need to thank Pat McCart-Malloy. Is she here still? Yes. Where is she? Pat volunteered for me and helped me with curriculum.
There's a unicorn.
She put in so many hours with me and did it all out of the kindness of her heart. She's called, I don't know if you know this, Pat, you're called the Queen of Volunteers in Ventura County. I mean, she never asked me for a dime. We're going to change that, Pat, if you ever want to come back. And most of all, and if I didn't thank everyone here, I'm sorry, because you're all part of it. The principals, the teachers, the farmers, you're all part of it. It takes a county. Most of all, I need to thank Harold Edwards and John Chamberlain and Steve Gill and Casey Howling, who believed in the mission of this program from the very beginning when I didn't have any numbers to give them. Men like this, they like to hear numbers. I don't know what I'm going to do. I never realized how the community was going to embrace this program, how the teachers were going to embrace it, how the community, just how much they love it. And I also need to thank all the people that work at Limoneira who always support me, all of them. Ryan Nazelroad, Francis Gonzalez, everyone in the packing house. I couldn't do what I do without them. And I already told you how amazed I am at how welcoming they all are to me and the children every time we are here. And thank you all for coming. This program can become as big as you want it to become. I had a gentleman approached me right after my speech, and Paul Chenet, the superintendent he goes, I think you're going to need some help soon. I think so too. So it can become as big as you want it. We can add more programs, we can go to more schools, we can add more grade levels. And I thank you again. I'm so happy that you're enjoying yourselves. And on your way out, Limoneira, of course, has donated lemons and avocados, and they're in this lovely wagon, and wine that Sienna Marie has arranged. And it's not one for everybody, it's one per couple. And thank you again. Oh, and the envelopes. Heidi is so good, there's envelopes. It's very self-explanatory. And thanks again. And these lovely musicians standing behind me. Todd Hannigan, Dave Palmer, Fernando is on the fiddle. Todd has the amazing voice, and Dave Palmer is the keyboardist. And our
Are you enjoying your music? Okay.
Yes, yes.
And your album will help.